let me stop you there. So that's the conversion order is one of those substantial underpinnings. So this is what DTCC is up to right now after the experiment. We want to make it possible for parties to receive on qualified public and private blockchains any asset that's in DTCC's inventory. So that's all roughly $90 trillion worth of our assets. We're racing to actually bring that to production. We expect it much sooner than any of you think, so that when you want to engage in transactions like these, you can.
Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen, all in crypto here. And this was a video that we absolutely had to make. This video has been made on the back end of what Owenera put out yesterday in regards to a video featuring the two individuals that you just saw there. One of which, Dan Donny, is the Chief Technical Officer over at DTCC. And what he said there was that DTCC, that has around about 96% coverage of all clearing for securities out there, they do literally quadrillions in volume a year and have hundreds of trillions, well, around about $100 trillion in assets under management. They're essentially going to enable those assets, they were his own words, if they wanted to be tokenized on public and private DLTs. I'll be doing a follow-up video of this where I'll show you what public and private DLTs he's talking about through patents that individual himself actually had filed for, where they specifically mention certain blockchains. So do become a subscriber and watch out for that video. But what I want to do is just address the monumental nature of what he just said there. DTCC is the premier infrastructure provider for stocks, securities of all kinds. And they, sooner than we all think, which was his own words there, are going to actually enable these assets to be tokenized in the form predominantly in non-fungible tokens, because I've seen other papers, and then be traded 24/7, which we're going to come on to, and essentially brought on chain. And people have got no idea how much of a big deal that is, because a lot of that is going to take place on public DLTs, like many of the ones that we talk about here on this channel. So really, this is a confirming video in regards to what we've been saying for a hell of a long time. And we're going to show you the demo. This was literally published by Owenera yesterday. We're going to show you the demo of this all. Before we do so, this is from DTCC's Twitter. DTCC's Central Securities Depository has recently achieved a remarkable milestone by surpassing $100 trillion in assets. And you can see these are some of their stats. You can see since 2020, they've grown just insanely in terms of equities, in terms of exchange-traded funds, ETFs, money markets, so on and so forth. These guys are no joke when it comes to the traditional financial world. And if we're to be right on what we say, and that is that the world will be tokenized, certainly DLTs will transform traditional finance, well, you need to see those players actually act on that and not get cannibalized, in Christine Lagarde, President of the ECB's words, by technologies like, and we'll hint at the video we're going to do after this, Ripple and Stellar. So do subscribe, do follow along with this. Let's play that clip again and add on what is then followed, and then we're going to show you the demonstration. And really, this is just a huge green light and a massive tick and vote of confidence in regards to what's coming. And it's going to take place on public distributed ledgers predominantly, I think. And actually, within the demo, it shows you who these guys are working with to enable this. Some major financial players. Let's dive into this.
Yeah, let me stop you there. So that's the conversion order is one of those substantial underpinnings. So this is what DTCC is up to right now after the experiment. We want to make it possible for parties to receive on qualified public and private blockchains any asset that's in DTCC's inventory. So that's all roughly $90 trillion worth of our assets. We're racing to actually bring that to production. We expect it much sooner than any of you think, so that when you want to engage in transactions like these, you can. You simply pass in a conversion order, move to token form, and then move back again to traditional form.
So the second demo, after we've moved the money to tokenized, why do we move it to tokenized version? We're going to do two things with it. One, we're going to do an after-hour, effectively 24/7 sale of the share in tokenized form, but not a wrapped version by a third party with third-party risk. Actual share within DTCC is going to transfer from a seller to a buyer at the source within seconds. So that's the second thing we're going to do, show how 24/7 can happen. A real use case is going to come. And then we're going to take the buyer who actually bought the asset, will actually use the asset as collateral. They will borrow money against this asset in an intraday repo process, basically selling the asset and getting cash for it, and then a few minutes later, we'll do the opposite, where they sell back the cash and get the asset back. So we're going to show conversion, we're going to show the 24/7 trading, instant settlement, and we're going to show use as collateral that can be used in multiple ways. But before we jumped in, question to you, how real is it? I mean, we're going to show a demonstration, of course, but how real do you think this is?
This is quite real. So the demonstration you're going to see here, not real value, but real smart contracts, real chains, real movement of value. This was built on a mock of DTC's core accounting systems, the DTC proper, ATP, for those who are in the know. So it's there. We're now taking and moving from mock to real to allow this to roll to production. So
I mean, this is huge. This is real stuff, as he says there, and it's only really going to be enabled by DLTs. You're going to... Who was it that said, every asset shall be tokenized? You guys will let me know in the comment section who said that. He's always very remarkably right, isn't he? Because he's in the know, and DTCC is going to be a big part of that. And this is real. This is... The next step is production. I mean... And there are patents out there and clues out there in regards to what DLTs are going to play a role in this and benefit from it. And I'm going to probably do not just one video, multiple actually linking, because Securency is who they DTCC bought, I believe, and they had links to a certain crypto that I'm a big fan of here on this channel. I don't want to reveal too much. What I want to do is just kind of overarchingly cover it, and then we can, in various other videos, go into what DLTs are going to play a role in this. Brace yourselves, because this is coming fast. They're just waiting for regulatory clarity, and then it's all systems go. And we should have that by the end of September, according to David Sachs. And Tim Scott, who, of course, is the head of the sort of financial Senate body, if you will, in the United States. So this is huge. What I want to do now is actually play you a clip of them doing this demonstration. And in it, look at the names that they have that will be able to integrate with this system. Let's dive into that.
Yeah. So what we're seeing here is the asset conversion. I see it here. You see it on the big screen. This is the DTCC asset conversion mechanism. You can see the various tabs on the top, BNY, Euroclear, Canton, Finality. As long as the other party has a FinP2P router, we can add more and more of those. So it's very easy to convert between any ledger to any other ledger. Specifically here, we're focusing on the DTCC traditional ledger, which is an Apple share that was bought in the market, and now we want to convert it from off-chain to on-chain. And you can see that actually before we had a view of how much the user had before on-chain and off-chain. So now we're going to convert 400 shares from traditional to... Remember, we started here with 600 on-chain, so we're supposed to finish with 1,000 on-chain. And now you can see you have 1,000 on-chain, you have 400 less on the traditional ledger, and the total remains exactly the same. So these are just two ways for DTCC to hold the asset. It can be in the traditional ledger, it can be the digital ledger. For all intended purposes, it's the same, only the digital ledger has all the advantages of instant settlement.
So behind the scenes, what's happening in this conversion flow is the value is actually moving from the DTC custody, the participant's DTC custody account to a control account. The tokens are then being issued and delivered. So what the party is actually holding is a digital twin against that DTC holding.
We're moving on to the next demonstration, which is basically for the client that actually received the asset in digital form is now putting on an offer to sell it to the next client. So now he's trying to sell 1,000 shares of Apple. We're doing something interesting here. The payment mechanism is a stable coin. So we're going to show a traditional asset moved to digital asset on the platform, and you can see now that the client published an indication of interest to sell 1,000 shares for 200 shares each. Okay? Now we can go to another client, and that other client is basically wanting to buy the asset. They can see that the asset is available for sale. So I'm going to click. They're going to click the buy button to buy the asset, choose Circle as the payment mechanism, and execute the trade. And when this is done, you will see basically a settlement within 2 or 3 seconds of a trade of Apple after hours. So here it is. We achieved a use case of 24/7 trading with instant settlement. There's the three things that were demoed are quite significant. The first, the ability to convert. What does the ability to convert means? It means that you can take the $99 trillion worth of assets that sit on DTCC and over time make them all available for treatment as tokenized assets. This was not possible before. Every time that we talked in this industry about tokenization, we talked about private market, we talked about fund. Public shares were kind of somewhere at the end of over the horizon, and suddenly, with the leadership of the DTCC, we're seeing it happening much faster than expected, which we think will be a killer application that might pull the entire market behind it. That's one thing that we're seeing. And the interesting thing about the collateral mobility application is that it's not only about DTCC assets, but the collateral platform can take assets from other sources as well, right?
That's right. That's right.
This is huge, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. These guys have $100 trillion under management. They are the premier 96% coverage of securities settlements. And they're about to start enabling the DLT world to do what it's going to do, and that is engulf the entire financial system, and more broadly, systems generally. DLTs, distributed ledgers, are the future, and we're here to make sure that message gets out there. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you all in the next one.